Hello and welcome to the Otaku Network podcast. My name is Steve.
And I'm David.
And we are into week 11 of the 2024 anime fall season. So without further ado, we will get into it with episode 11 of Shogakusei ni Naru. Mai has once again been introduced to Moria, but this time she was introduced to her as her father's soon-to-be new wife. Mai is not taking this information with the most grace and kind of throws a fit in the restaurant and runs out crying.
Just gonna say I called it.
Oh yeah. She goes to her mother to be consoled, not willing to accept that her father is trying to move on when her mother is right there. Takai goes out to meet her and finally has the conversation with her that she should have had about 3 episodes ago, telling her that she doesn't intend to remain within Marika's body, that she needs to just pass on and let Mai and Keisuke live their lives without her in the hopes that they can continue to grow and improve as human beings. Mai calms down a little bit, but can't go home, so she ends up spending the night with Renji instead. And the two of them have a conversation that they probably should have actually had before they decided to get married, where he was talking about how he hopes to have kids in the future. You'd think that is an important conversation to have before discussing putting a ring on, as to whether or not the both of you are on the same page for procreating.
Nah.
The conversation, though, gives her a little bit of a different perspective on her current crisis, continuing to soften her. And in the morning, she returns home to have a more measured conversation with her father about the changes around them. Keisuke tells her that he believes if he gets married to Moria, Takai will be able to pass on to the afterlife or whatever, without any regrets. Mai is still refusing to accept that her mother needs to go away again, seeing as she doesn't want to lose her a second time and is desperate to keep her around for her guidance and safety and security. But Keisuke stresses the idea that Takai existing within Marika's body is robbing Marika and in turn Chika of Marika's life, and that's wrong for them to do. And this miracle that they've been living with for the past year or so is something that shouldn't be what you base your life around. That they had this amazing chance to reconnect with her, to try to improve their situation, and they shouldn't squander that, but they also shouldn't hold Marika prisoner for their own selfish desires. Mai still doesn't want to listen to him, refusing to accept the fact that her mother really just is gone, and this is a strange thing that she's been dealing with for the past year. And it comes to the point where Keisuke finally admits to her that the entire situation is truly his fault in how he handled, or better yet, failed to handle, the loss of Takai 11 years ago at this point. That's kind of where we end the episode, where it seems that Mai is now finally starting to be comfortable with the changes that are happening around her. So next episode should be all rainbows and sunshine and sad but happy conclusions, right?
Or Keisuke dies. Not an actual prediction. But wouldn't that just be a wild way to end the series? Just like, and the dad dies. They get to be together in happiness forever.
Oh, poor Moria.
Fuck her.
Wow. Okay.
I'm kidding. I mean, realistically, he is 20 years older than she is. There's a 20-year age gap.
Maybe
there.
more like 15, but yeah.
There's still a huge age gap. Keisuke's dying first.
She is way desperate. She's been like, I believe everything you tell me.
She is kind of desperate.
She has so much faith in him that she only knows from a working environment, and she's probably only been there a handful of years.
It was that time he caught her, just swooped her off her feet.
I guess.
She was like,
She's drinking the Kool-Aid.
Ah, God.
When Mai was spending the night with Renji, I was expecting her to tell Renji about what was going on with her mother.
I don't know if Renji's ever going to know.
I don't think he's ever going to know.
Bullshit.
He suspects something, though, it seems. There's something weird.
Yeah, that's bullshit, though.
I mean, again, how are you going to explain this?
I'll say this episode fucked me up, though. Fucking,
I told you it was going to be nothing but crying. Most of it was Mai. Like
the ass end of the episode where she's just fucking bawling. I'm like, what is this? Sadness? It's just, I feel tears.
I liked how they portrayed her, where she was like, where she comes back and she goes, okay, we can talk about this reasonably. And then as she realizes that her father is serious, she starts to get desperate again to try to like have him backpedal. And she almost loses it herself and almost flees the situation again, but stops. And I'm glad they did, because honestly, they could have dragged it out where she ran away again and then had more consoling and came back, but that would just be repetitious and pointless.
Yeah.
So the whole culmination of Keisuke having, like I said last episode, all of these problems stem from nobody decided to talk to her about anything. And now they finally decide to talk to her when everything explodes. Terrible parenting.
I'll say Takei and Keisuke are both terrible parents.
Takai isn't, but...
Takai's a terrible parent.
How? How is she... For dying?
Yeah.
For dying in a car accident she couldn't control.
How dare she?
Good Lord.
No, it's more along the lines of she made poor parenting decisions with...
Marrying Keisuke?
No, with not keeping Mai in the loop.
Oh, in the recent history of the story, yes.
Yes, her recent parenting has been terrible.
Yes. Well, I mean, to be fair, she also has been dealing with a lot herself.
I mean, yes, but...
It's fair.
She should have immediately looped Mai in.
Yeah.
Instead of being like, oh, I should go with you to the wedding venue, oh.
And you can't fault her for this. She has this opportunity that she shouldn't have, and she wanted to be selfish. I can't fault her for that. But yeah, absolutely. She should have definitely had a fucking bold-faced conversation with her daughter.
Like, I'm not going to be here for this wedding.
Yeah, it's not going to happen, and here's why.
My goal is to move on, pass on to the other side.
Yep.
Get actually reincarnated where I don't remember things. Like that Buddhist monk told us.
Right. We've got one episode left. We'll see how much melodrama they're going to squeeze into the last 20 minutes.
Are we going to get TV novella, or are we just going to get normal sad anime? A sad anime, if you will.
Who do you think's going to be married first?
Obviously, Mai and Renji.
You think so?
Oh, yeah. Maybe we won't even see the marriages. Maybe it'll just be like assumed.
No, we're definitely going to see Renji and Mai's marriage.
Maybe.
No.
Maybe we get a time skip.
I wouldn't mind a time skip, honestly. Like jumping ahead like 5 years.
Oh, we get a time skip where Mai has had a kid.
How much you want to think?
Just
like Takai?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I can totally see that happening.
That's Takai's actual reincarnation?
Yeah, right? No.
Yeah.
I can see that. That's a very plausible ending to the series.
That would be #adorbs. Like they pull up baby pictures of Takai and it's like, oh my god, it looks just like her.
That also
What is the name of Buddha?
That's not unheard of anyways, just in regards to genetics.
Right.
I think in retrospect, when we look back at the episode that we kind of shit on, it wasn't a bad episode. It actually has its place and fits well within the narrative. We just couldn't see past it. I feel with the entire context of the way that the story has progressed and everything that's happened and all the character development, that episode was not a bad episode.
Fair.
We just didn't understand enough of the story at that point to appreciate what it did.
It makes sense now. Oh, they're going to burn that contract to release Takai. That's the thing that's holding her in. She saw it. It brought her back.
Yeah.
Don't forget that.
You're right. It jolted her.
I think the contract is binding her to
Binding
Earth.
her spirit to...
Yeah, they didn't sign a marriage contract. They signed a ghost binding contract. This week on Blue Miburo, it's another one of those just like space fillers. They had a drinking party about being Aizu samurai now.
Yeah, they're celebrating their success.
And then they have a last man standing competition, which we get Hijikata and Serizawa having like this foreshadowing showdown about how Hijikata is eventually going to take over the Mibu, and how we get this first inkling that Hijikata does not agree with Serizawa's methodology. They both pass out. Well, Serizawa actually passes out. Hijikata's like, cool, I won, goes to bed. Come to find out that neither of them won. It was actually Genzaburo that won.
Yeah, because he was leaning in the corner.
Yeah, he's like
still conscious.
I fucking did it. And then passed out.
I love that Serizawa was like, it's time to sleep now, and just falls over.
Yeah, he just, his sake dish just goes flying up in the air. You're like, damn. And then we get this, I'm going to call it a side arc, where they decide that they want matching uniforms, which Neo decides his granny can do it and goes to granny. Before that, he gets this thing from Hijikata of like, if you had to leave Kyoto, what would you do? And that like sticks with him throughout the rest of the episode as they go and help granny.
Hijikata and Serizawa, as they were facing each other off, were talking about their ideals and their motivations for what they were doing. And Serizawa had asked Neo what his was, and Neo said that his was to protect his hometown, which Serizawa, scoffed at.
Yeah, I think it's a load of bullshit.
But
pretty sure Hijikata said he wants a castle in Enzo because that's where he's from.
I thought it was Kama.
Might have been Kama.
What it boiled down to between Serizawa and Hijikata was Serizawa hated the town that he grew up in.
Yeah.
and felt that in order to be free, you shouldn't be tied to one space just because that's where your parents had you.
Yeah.
Hijikata, though, had the opposite view, where he had a lot of love and respect for his hometown, and that's where he wanted to, like, remain for the rest of his life if possible. Which
Build a castle.
they had their dreams and hopes of becoming daimyo themselves, and, you know, being landed feudal lords, and where would they set up their domain? And then they, you know, asked Neo, because Neo was observing them as a judge for the contest, and Neo said that, you know, his whole motivation is just protecting his hometown, which Hijikata then turns on him and goes, "You shouldn't tie yourself to this place, because what happens to you if you can no longer be in this place? Are you just going to wither away and die?" So he then takes that sentiment with him as he does this whole
Granny side quest.
homecoming,
Granny side quest.
and he wrangles in
Hajime and Taro.
Hajime and Taro.
Which Taro takes to working at a restaurant.
Hajime's not a kid. Hajime's like 19 at this point. Oh my god. Anyways,
I know. I love that Hajime took a sniff of the sake and passed out.
Yeah.
That was pretty funny.
That was funny.
The Hajime thing is...
Which part? His age?
It seems like they're portraying him as older, like, than the two boys.
I think it's just trying to show him as being more mature, but I think they're really trying to wrangle them in as all the same age as early teenagers. He's 19 at this point, 19, 20 at this point in reality. I don't know. I guess they just needed to have...
A requisite amount of children in this show.
Well, and if you compare all three of them, they are vastly different personalities and backgrounds.
They're foils.
Yeah.
It's a triad
It's a
of
trifoil.
foils. The Triforce.
There we go. Yes, it's the Triforce.
So they go to Granny's. They help Granny. They end up having this like heartfelt conversation about what would Granny do? Well, Neo and Granny have this conversation. Would have this conversation about what would Granny do if Kyoto stopped being Kyoto.
If she was forced to leave the city.
If she was forced to leave it, if it collapsed, something bad happened, and she just goes, "I'm gonna die in Kyoto. All of my memories are here. Raising you and Iroha were the best time of my life, and it's where I'm dying."
God, how shitty were the first 60 years of her life?
Who knows? And then she like starts to fall asleep, and then goes, "But I'm not dying anytime soon, you fucker." And then we get mysterious character walk in, and end of anime episode. Can't tell if that's a guy or a girl.
It's a guy.
Okay. Very pretty boy.
I forget who he is.
Very pretty boy.
The beginning part, when they were still continuing the garbage from the previous episode, I groaned. I'm like, oh God, more filler. The episode did feel very much filler, but I appreciate what the entire second half of the episode, with Neo kind of returning home, touching grass almost.
Going back to his grassroots, if you will.
What it does to establish his resolve beyond just being a fanatic who's wrapped up into the sense of justice that the Mibu is presenting him with. He now has, after being questioned by Ichikata about why he truly feels that the most important thing to him is protecting Kyoto, we've grounded that into his emotions with this returning home. I think this back half of the episode does well to establish a good baseline for Neo's convictions.
Yeah. The second half of the episode is better than the first half. First half, I was just like, whoop-de-doo. The second half, I actually like paused it right before the second half started. Mm-hmm. I went and did something and then came back.
It's just like, I don't know if I want to keep going with this garbage.
Because I was bored, and I was like, I'll come back to this later.
Yeah.
Like, this episode will just be another filler. And then I got to the second half, and I'm like, oh, this is actually pretty...
It was good. It was nice and emotional.
I just wish the whole episode could have been like that. The writing's a little lazy in this show. Before you say it, there are shonen that have good writing. You've literally watched Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood.
I wasn't going to say anything about that regardless. But
I thought that's what your shit-eating grin was for.
No.
I just saw a shit-eating grin and immediately was like, he's going to talk shit about shonen again.
I mean, the series is just telling history, but it's doing it in a truncated and fanciful version.
I just want to get to the Boshin more at this point.
I don't know.
We have a 2-core season here, buddy.
This series may end
with the
dissolution of the Mibu and the formation of the Shinsengumi as an official organization.
If they blue ball us.
Look, the show isn't called "And the Shinsengumi." I don't know. It may just literally be about the period of time during the Wolves of Mibu.
If they blue ball us, they're like, and then a war happened, the end. And you're like, fuck.
Maybe it'll end with the execution of
Serizawa. And after the execution, like we'll get like a narrative outro. You're just like, you cop-outs.
They cut back to the narration, because you gotta remember that we had forgotten, maybe, or I did.
No, I knew that
This entire thing was really a narration by one of the members of the Shinsengumi when he is in his twilight years talking to some children at whatever temple he's hanging out at.
Yeah, yep.
So
I like how that one dude who's just naked during the drinking scene was like, this is a fucking seppuku scar. I'm like, what?
So
what?
You know how they keep hammering on the outfit?
Yeah.
One of the iconic things with the Shinsengumi is their hori and the coloring and the design of it.
Uh-huh.
So we're kind of building up into them getting into their actual Shinsengumi clothing, which you may not have predicted. Blue is part of the color.
Gasp.
It's blue and white.
Gasp.
It's like white with blue accents that are triangles.
But isn't the Aizu's colors also blue?
I don't remember. Might have been. I forget. Yeah, so we'll find out who this pretty boy is next week.
Hell yeah. Holy God, Orb was I'm going to be honest, kind of hard to watch at first. So we pick up immediately where we left off. Nowak is talking to these two new Inquisitors and is kind of giving the lowdown about what it means to be an Inquisitor.
He is so bored with his life.
Yeah, he's fucking bored with his life. God. And then they run into this guy that Nowak is really kind of like rolls over like a dog for. Did you notice that? How he kind of just like presented his belly to be like, I'm not a threat.
Yeah, because Nowak knows that he needs to not ruffle feathers because I'm sure he's in his position. And they brought it up before, like, how is he in here when he's not part of the clergy?
Yeah.
He is definitely in his position due to special circumstances. So he's intelligent enough to realize when he just needs to not confront people. He doesn't confront anybody, honestly.
Right. And I think it's because he knows that that's the bishop's son.
Yeah, oh yeah. Well, he knows it's the...
Well, we find out that that's the bishop's son through exposition via Nowak.
And the priests were like,
huh?
Wait, the bishop isn't celibate? He's
publicly.
Like, yeah, about that.
Yeah, publicly, he's celibate. So then we get that, and then he takes them to their first torture.
For Stan's job.
baby's first torture.
Yeah.
Where they're torturing a woman who was reported to have found a black mass.
Yeah.
Which, for those of you who aren't aware, a black mass is a congregation of witches that regularly was the method of accusation for women who were accused of being witches during the medieval period.
Yeah.
So they're trying to get out of this woman the location of who told her where this black mass was and if she is also a witch.
She had been caught coming out of this theoretically restricted wooded area. And they're like, the only people that go there for nefarious Christian ways.
Yeah.
So
she's like, I'm not a witch. I don't know what you're talking about. I was just going foraging. And so they break her fucking thumbs with a torture device.
Yeah, they put the screws on her.
Oh, God. The brown-haired monk.
Nowak makes one of the newly minted...
Or no, it's the blonde monk that went
Newly
first.
minted Inquisitors, get a taste for the job.
Yeah. He has both of them basically, test drive torturing.
Yeah.
The blonde monk hesitantly does it. He's kind of like, and then, actually snaps her fucking thumb. Or actually, I think cuts her thumb off with that device.
No, I think it just crushes.
Maybe. I don't know. We didn't actually see. We just see a spray of blood. And then he tells the brown-haired monk to do it. And he's like, I can't do it.
Yeah,
I can't do it.
His conscience overcomes him and he's like, this is wrong. I can't do this.
And then the blonde monk goes back and right before he cranks down on her thumb again.
Nowak is like, I get it. I understand. That's okay. You don't have to do it. Hey, other dude, do the other thumb.
Yeah. He tells the other blonde monk to do it. And the woman finally admits, like, I'm not a witch, but my neighbor told me to go there because I was looking for medicine for my brother who's sick.
Yeah, she literally sold out her neighbor to save herself.
Yeah. She's like, I just wanted to get medicine. I'm not a witch, I promise. And her fate gets kind of left hanging. And Nowak...
Yeah, because Nowak gets pulled off.
Well, Nowak takes them outside to talk to them.
Oh,
and
yeah, that's right.
Gives them this rundown about, like, being an Inquisitor, you're going to have to do shit that...
You're not going to be comfortable with at
You're
first.
gonna have to do shit.
Yeah.
And Nowak is just like, but it's fine. You'll get that. He's weirdly nice with these new Inquisitors.
He has always presented himself as benevolent.
Yeah.
With every interaction he's had. Even when he was dueling Otzi, he was calm and friendly.
That man has no facial expressions besides. Except when they compliment Yolenta. And he does that huge, like, thank you so much.
We're getting ahead of ourselves.
I know. Anyway, he gets called off to this other mission, and then we cut to Badeni, Otzi, and Yolenta meeting up at a bar where they are catching up.
Yeah.
It's been a bit. They haven't seen Yolenta in a while. So they're all just mingling, talking, chit-chatting. And then
Yolenta's line of questioning was a bit suspect.
it was. So then finally, Noak shows up going, your friends told me where you were.
Yeah,
And
so-
Otzi has a literal meltdown.
So Noak apparently is one of the bishop's favorites. The bishop has a strong. He concerns himself the most when it comes to heretical examinations with things dealing with people studying the cosmos. So he pulls Noak out to give him a special assignment to investigate some information that's come in related to the library. So Noak then shows up at the pub because he asked her on for where Yolenta was. Her line of questioning was suspect. And I'm like, is it her that is the leak at the library?
Realistically, it was probably the monk that didn't like. No, it's the monk that doesn't like Badeni because he found that book.
Correct. But she was very interested in what those two were going to do with themselves and where they were going to go. And they, like fucking morons, told her the entire story.
Right, because she's infested. I don't think it's Yolenta.
I don't know. Could be.
She also has said that her dad has never told her what he does for work.
Correct. But
I think it's the monk.
it very well can be the monk because of what he found. Absolutely. But Yolenta, I don't think Yolenta's out of the line of suspect.
I
either.
think it's the monk because we got left on that cliffhanger of him finding that book.
Yeah, of course.
I just want to know what he's going to ask Otzi and Badeni. I need the next episode to come out.
Carry on with Noak showing up.
But Noak shows up and they continue having this chat. Otzi is fucking panicking because he remembers Noak.
Oh, yeah. Well, because it's only been maybe a month,
Right.
probably.
So he's panicking and Badeni is just spilling the fucking beans.
Not exactly, but Denny's being guarded.
Right, but he's still just like, yeah, I study astronomy and
Yeah.
and just fucking bleh, bleh, bleh. And you're like, Badeni, shut the fuck up. It's a fucking Inquisitor.
Yeah, but he doesn't know that. The only person who knows that there is
Noak.
Noak. Yeah. No, Otzi.
I do. Well, I mean, Noak also knows he's an Inquisitor.
I should hope so.
But I like when they compliment Yolenta, and he's just like, "Thank you so much," and he does the like head to table immediately. Like
It was an absolute act.
I know it was.
100% an act. He came there knowing what he was looking for.
I know. I'm pretty sure he dotes over his daughter. Because when he was talking about his daughter to the other Inquisitors, he was kind of doting as well.
I remember a long time, I think it was like episode 2 or 3,
Yeah.
when he was talking about how he's doing all of this so he can ensure.
I do think there was a mild bit of genuineness in his like, thank you for praising my daughter. Because I think he's
Sure.
that arrogant that like he would genuinely be like, yes, I did spend a lot of time raising my daughter. Like, thank you for complimenting her.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's his weak point is his daughter.
Which I'll bring up something when we get down to the recap.
Fair. But anyway, they chit chat in the bar. They're like, oh, it was nice to meet you. And walk around the corner. And Otzi finally breaks and is about to tell Badeni, like, dude's an Inquisitor, we gotta go. And Noak returns and he's just like,
Gentlemen, we need to speak.
I'm an Inquisitor. End episode.
Okay.
And scene.
If Yolenta is getting wrapped up in this whole thing, or I mean, theoretically she should be getting wrapped up in this whole thing, in this investigation, I wonder how much...
Badeni's original plan of calling her a witch is gonna work.
No, I wonder how much Noak...
Because that was his original plan.
Yeah,
was
I
to
know.
just call her a witch.
I wonder how much Noak is going to try to remove her from the situation.
And like hide her involvement.
Yeah. Like how
Probably a lot.
he loves his job though, and he is
But I think-
truly convicted that
I think he loves his daughter more.
the best thing in the world is to keep the order the way it is.
I think he loves his daughter more though.
Well, we'll find out, I guess.
Because
But yeah, no. I'm
remember
more-
that was that scene where he's talking about like, I do this to protect my daughter.
Correct. But I am with you on that. I think he will, but there's that little tingling of he may feel there's no more protecting her, that she may be lost.
He could maybe be like, she's young enough. I can, correct this with stern discipline.
Stern discipline. Send her off to be a nun.
To the convent with you.
I think the only bad thing with this episode was as they're preparing to leave to go meet Yolenta, and Badeni's about to write this note. He's like, it's fine. I'll do it when I get back. That was the most obvious death flag we've had the entire series.
Yeah,
He's never going to write that note.
probably. Or he smooth talks his way out of that fucking conversation.
He's never going to be able to wrangle his way out from under.
I mean, to be fair though,
Noak's
he also has not had a heresy charge yet.
thumb.
You get one.
Well, technically he has, and that's why he got fucked up when he was younger. Remember when he looked through that book?
I guess. I don't know if that
had his eyes burned.
I don't know if that was formal though.
Who knows? We don't know.
Who knows? We'll see. I want the next episode to come out. Fuck it, this fucking anime, dude. Oh God, I love it. I love it.
This was good. I mean, we could see the foot. We could tell the shoe was gonna drop from a mile away, but it was so good.
Oh, the boot like tripled in size. It was just like, and you're like, ah. There was not enough boot in the last several episodes, and now we finally have a like however many episode gap between boot hitting.
Yeah, they got some time to make up before some more heretics are executed.
Yeah. There's the whole town's getting killed. Like
Noak's performance was fantastic because he knew exactly that these were the people he was looking for.
Yeah.
There's no way he didn't know with how he behaved.
He's also not a moron.
No, God no.
But I do think a little bit of it was actually being arrogant and being like, yes, I raised my daughter.
Yeah,
well.
praised for his daughter, yeah.
But yeah, no, everything else was just... I'm like, this motherfucker knows literally everything.
It'll be interesting to see what the other priest's involvement in this situation was and what he ended up doing with that book once he found it.
I think he reported them. I think he was like, sure God, what is this?
But I'm wondering if the Count had scribbled Badeni and Otsy's names in the book.
Maybe, who knows?
Who knows?
We will see.
We'll probably find out next episode.
Another great week of anime.
It wasn't bad. Miburo was the weakest again, but it was better than last week.
Yeah, it improved.
TsumaSho was definitely just crying the entire time.
Just ugly crying.
We'll probably only get about 30% crying next episode.
Maybe.
Some sad, some
happy,
relieved. Who knows?
Maybe.
And
who fucking knows what's gonna happen with Orb?
I think we know what's gonna happen.
Die.
Otsy and Badeni are in a world of trouble.
It's getting They're running out of characters in the title sequence.
They kind of are.
They're running out of characters in the title sequence, Steve.
Second core, we'll probably just get a new opening sequence.
They're like, here, just fucking kill every character in the title sequence. We got to make a new title sequence.
Yeah, episode 14 or whenever they start the second core with.
I think it'll be 13.
Here's the new list of characters that will die eventually throughout the course of the show. Or it could just be the Noak show.
It's just Noak like dancing the entire title
the
sequence.
whole time. Multiple copies of him in the background. It's all Noak all the time.
Just like this shitty little like thumbs up dance.
His lazy grin.
Yeah.
Oh man.
It just hard turns to be the show about like the Inquisition. You're like, what the fuck is going on?
I want to see his look into his past as a mercenary.
The subtitle of the show changes from Orb on the Movements of Earth to Orb, holy fuck, it's the Inquisition.
Next season, taking place in Spain.
Subtitle, all Noak all the time. Oh, that would be fucking ridiculous. No. Great episodes. Great anime.
Yep. So next week we have the final episode of TsumaSho, and Miburo and Orb are going to continue beyond this season.
Is next week going to be our last episode?
No. So next week will be all three shows, and the following week, which will be the final week for the season, we'll just talk about Miburo and Orb, and then we will reveal what our new picks are for the winter season. So thanks for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Drop a comment. Check out us on our socials. Join our Discord, and don't forget
all the things I've been verbally abusing you with.
David's Insta page, and don't forget on Friday the newest episodes of Weekly Ranma.
Ranma.
All right, thanks again. We'll see you guys next time.